Okay, you the older one, but you're not supposed to be putting women's ages
But
out
you
there
said
like
it
that.
though. You said it. In explaining that you was about to say it, you said it. It's fine. It's fine because like you're not about to ruin my evening with your foolishness. So we have multiple things that we could talk about this evening. And I think that I want to start off with actually I think this evening, yeah, we're gonna definitely use your idea. So are you ready to start the show?
Ready when you are.
What's the intro?
It's the no. See, I can't say it's the. You do it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to One Man and One Woman, the podcast. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, you caught on eventually. It's cool. It's cool. We make a good team.
We are still working through the kinks of this. I promise we're going to get an intro and an outro together. But until then, let's just get into the conversation for this episode. So, the other day you sent me a message and you said you wanted to talk about the bad boy phase that women go through. And you and I have had this conversation so many times. I've had this conversation on so many podcast panels. How you want to start?
I mean, maybe just explain it to me. It's not a, it's a foreign phenomenon to me. I know that it exists, but I don't know why and
Okay,
what goes on.
for me personally, I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the hood of St. Louis, North Side and the West Side. And I'm a 1980 baby. So the 80s, the 90s, that was heavy gangs and, just a lot. So what I grew up seeing, all of the boys that were my age, the men that were older that we were looking up to, they had all the money, they got all the girls, they were bad boys essentially. They were the ones that we considered, dangerous, not necessarily to us, but the lifestyle that they led was dangerous, which was exciting. This is something that's been long promoted in movies and across all ethnicities. In movies, like even I think in 90210, Dylan was so-called the bad guy compared to Brandon's cookie cutter good guy. And the good girls, I don't have a record or anything like that, tend to like the bad boys. There's something just inherently sexy about that vibe to those of us who are young, immature, and don't understand all that life could lead to, which is a premature death and jail for a very long time. We don't think about those things. We're thinking about the rush of it. We're thinking about the fast money. We're thinking about the respect that he gets in the streets. No one's going to say anything to him. So that means by proxy, they're not going to say anything to you. Or at least that's how it used to be. I can't speak to these streets now because there used to be rules to this thing. And now I don't think that they respect the game like it used to be. But I take this back to the caveman days, and this is just in my head. We hear these stories about one caveman walking by looking for whatever it was he was looking for. Maybe he's hunting a saber-toothed tiger or however that worked. And he sees a beautiful woman in the cave with this dude. He go over there and say, "Hey, let me have her." Dude says no. He beats him up, throws her over his shoulder, and takes her anyway. And there's this thing inside of women where we, in terms of wanting to procreate, want to pick the strong guy, the one that's going to give us the best offspring. Essentially, we're wired that way biologically in our genetics and our DNA. So if you just add all that together from back in the day where you want the dude who can handle the saber-toothed tiger and who can figure out how to shape the rock into a circle and create fire and whatever other cool things they were doing back then, and okay, this guy's going to pass on those genes of intelligence, ingenuity, and things like that to my offspring. And then you just jump how many ever zillions of years after that, and it has been discombobulated and morphed into street thugs instead of men who are actually capable of protecting you and respecting you and not involving you in a life that could lead to a premature death. It's just been convoluted, but essentially that's where I think it started. And, to this day, we have women in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s still chasing that same ideal because they just don't understand where it really came from and what it was really supposed to be about.
Yeah, I hear that, and while I guess in some ways it makes sense, in some ways to me it doesn't, because those characteristics, like if we're using the caveman analogy, and you needed the dude that was going to be able to beat the saber-toothed tiger and all that other kind of stuff, like those were still characteristics that had to be observed and and like learned. Like you had to know, I need a guy who can kill a saber-toothed tiger, and so then you start looking for a guy who can kill a saber-toothed tiger or something like that, or whatever. um, Fast forward hundreds of thousands, millions of years, the thing that you need to be done has changed. But so why hasn't the mentality evolved as well? Like you had to have figured that out at some point, that I need this guy who can do these, who can start a fire and XYZ. So why hasn't that thought process evolved over those millions of years, as society has?
Well, I think that the mentality of the woman is the problem. I think instead of
That's
her,
what I'm asking you, specifically that. Why hasn't that evolved?
because it's devolved a word, because it didn't do the evolving, it did the opposite. So instead of, when back then, with it being, I need a man who can provide these things that are essential to life that I cannot do, it is turned into, I want a dude who can give me what I want, not what I need. I want the materialistic things. I want to be the hottest girl on the block. I want the BBL. I want to not have to work. I want to be able to stunt on the gram and do that. That is the mentality now. Instead of finding a man who can give you what you need, you want a man who can give you what you want. At least that's what I'm saying. Again, I am not from this generation that's out here doing these things now. Although I know women my age and older who are still, like I said, chasing that fast life, the materialistic things. It's gone from necessity to, materialistic wants, desires, not needs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess devolve would be the only word I could use to describe it, because yeah, it's gone from, like you said, things that were necessary to survival to things that, if we're being honest, have only shown the women who've gone through them are detrimental to your survival.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem too.
He's not going to be around long. He's probably going to have me in some sort of danger.
But
I may lose
you're not
him
thinking
to,
like that. You're having too much fun. See, you're adding maturity, growth, and like common sense to this equation. And that's not really what
maybe
it is.
the first time. How does it remain? Like, how do you get in your 40s and you're still in this cycle?
Have you elevated your job? Have you elevated the friends you hang out with? Have you moved out of your neighborhood? If what you know is what you know, and that's all you know, and you haven't in any capacity stepped out of that, people, that question really irks me sometimes. And this is no, and I'm not, meaning that or directing that towards you, but it's like people do better in life and actually forget what it's like to be extra stupid sometimes. Like we make it out of the hood, and then we turn around and have these conversations and go, well, why are people still doing it? Because it's all they know. I didn't go back to the hood to teach them differently. I don't know anybody who's going back to say, you know what, you keep doing the same thing that every woman before you in your family has done, and you end up in the same spot as every woman in your family before you has done. Don't you want something different? Sometimes you can't miss what you never had, and you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of them are just ignorant, uneducated, and what's leading their lives is Instagram and celebrities and reality TV. Everybody wanting to get quick, rich, or get rich quick, and like I said, think they're gonna take the Cardi B path. I'm gonna go out here and be a stripper. I'm gonna pay for body augmentation, and then I'm gonna be rich. How often do you hear kids saying they want to be doctors and lawyers and scientists anymore? Like the whole situation is trash across the board.
It's trash. But to me, like, we live in the most informed age in existence. We have access to more information and more what's going on in every corner and pocket of the world than we ever have before. And we talking everybody. If you're walking around with a cell phone, you can see it, you can find it, it's there, So it's like we don't live in this isolated, this is all I know. You have the ability to know whatever it is you want to know.
But you got to know what you're searching for. Like if you don't know it, who goes to their Google and says, Google and teach me something, enlighten me? You only gonna search fight videos and World Star Hip Hop and Jocelyn Hernandez and whatever else it is that you're not searching Google for things you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
It's a channel away. It's a click away. All you got to do is what I think what happens is we see different and it's not attractive. We are attracted. We associate so much of like blackness and all of that with struggle that if we see black not associated with struggle, we almost don't think it's black. If we see black doing well, we almost be like, nah, that's not authentic. That ain't real. Like the only for you to show that you're real, you have to now somehow show that you have struggled or you do something that's a struggle. I don't think people don't have access to the information or don't see different. They almost have convinced themselves that different is bad. That different is not good. I know you could do something different, but doing that makes me whatever, and it makes me not this. So I'm gonna stay over here and do
Or
this.
like the women I know, I'm speaking specifically to the women I know, like blood related to me and that I grew up with. These women have seen so much of the same thing in a repetitive cycle that to them, a man doesn't love them if he not beating on them. They equate that. And with all this plethora of information out here, and with me being a real life example to them of how you're supposed to leave when that happens, it's still like, no, this is what my mother and her mother and her mother and her mother did. Why would I think I'm supposed to get anything different? That you, like you said, that's normal to them. That's how it's supposed to be. So not every mind sparks this thought of, oh, this, I want more than this, or this can't be right for me when they see it all the time. And going back to the bad boy situation, that is it. Like I had a grown cousin tell me once when I was asking her why she was still hanging out with a dude that she knew beat on his gal, because his gal was her cousin. Like my cousin was hanging out with my bio mom and the dude that everybody in the family, it was whooping on her, but she wouldn't leave. And when I was talking to my cousin and saying, why do you still let this bum come over here, knowing what he doing to your cousin? And she was like, look, cuz I'm going to tell you this, a piece of man is better than no man. And then I had to debate that. Ma'am, you 15, 20, whatever years plus my senior, and I'm going to school you real quick because that's not how that works. But when you have been raised to think that the bad boy is the sexiest, he gonna be the best in bed, that adventure, that danger, all of that is just wrapped up in this sexual desire. It's all convoluted, like I said, but that is what we're taught. That is what we see when we see them. Like a dude rode up on a motorcycle, or a dude, dressed a certain way. For the girls who like dudes that sag, I could never subscribe to that. But if he's tatted up, like there are just certain things that trigger us, like literally physically in a carnal way trigger us. And we just put all these ideas into our head that they are going to be the best at whatever it is we're seeking at that time. And we're willing to throw caution to the wind in order to find out if it's like we think it is. So it is, the bad boy face is definitely heavily rooted in sex as well. I don't want to,
And so there's a lot of layers to that. It's like one, like this is all we're taught. Well, who's teaching? Like who's doing the teaching? The people who have gone through it, suffered from it, and then they're now teaching the lesson that they wish they hadn't been taught to other people so they can do the same
yes,
thing. And then also like I hear you saying like but if you don't know and this is all you ever know and it's normal, like I watched a situation. I don't want to get like too personal, but I watched a situation. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I watched somebody we know be on a podcast with other women that grew up in the same area that she is from, and relationship question came up, and she's talking to them about what she's found in this guy and the love and being able to be healed through a relationship and somebody that can hold the mirror up to you. And she's talking very lovingly and glowingly. She is selling the hell out of, what it is that she's found. And so this is a woman who is from the very same place that these other women are from. She's not like some alien that came down and lived this other life that they didn't live. Like she lived the same life that they lived, and that she's telling them there's something else like out there. And they are not saying it's not attractive and it doesn't sound great. They're saying, I prefer the bullshit. I prefer the toxic. I prefer, it's more fun to be over here. So this is not uh ignorance is bliss thing. This is, yeah, I know, and I choose this.
Well, and I do know what you're talking about. And in that scenario, too, one of those people is constantly saying things like, I don't believe in love anymore, or I don't think true love is real. That would never happen to me. Like, I like toxic, I like chaos. That's what I know. And this is she's one of those people who I use when I give these examples of somebody who's been so hurt and so broken and never seen anything successful work for anybody in her family or for herself, that she is like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and that's great for you. And they'll even be happy for the people who are gaining those things. But when it comes to them thinking themselves, could that be my life? No. They don't believe enough in themselves or feel self-worth or self-respect or what self-esteem, whatever it is you're supposed to have to understand that this could be you too. They don't have enough of an imagination or belief system to even take it there at all. And we have, you say who's teaching it. Look, we got music, we got movies, TV shows, commercials. We even have sayings. Let's just talk about nice guys finish last. Like, there's so much ingrained in our society to tell you that you need to go for the bad boy. How many women are out here on these reality TV shows or these blind dating shows or whatever people are watching, and they're like, yeah, I liked him so much. He said all the right things, but he's just too nice. Just the thought of somebody saying that they couldn't talk to a person because they were too nice shows you how messed up the mentality is for a lot of people out here. And I know that, when we were talking about the women who want the bad boys in all their good years, their prime years, when they're young, before they have kids and all of that, they get ran through by all these bad boys, end up with multiple kids by multiple of these bad boys. And then all of a sudden, when they're in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, and they realize 30s, 40s, and they realize, all the mistakes they made, and that nice guy was probably their best bet. If that nice guy is still single, or usually, hopefully he's not, but even if he is, how does that benefit him to date her now when she's been ran through, lived that dream, chased those bad guys, multiple kids by multiple dudes, and now he's supposed to settle for her and all her baggage because she didn't understand that he was where she should have been the first time? So, I mean, but it's so ingrained, it's not going to stop anytime soon. It just isn't. You, like you just said, in that situation, you can have a person who's lived that life and been through those things and chosen those people before, those types of men before, come out and say, I finally got it right. And those people will be so jaded that they're like, sure, you still in the new phase or the honeymoon phase, or give it 5 or 10 years. Like, they just can't believe in something like that being long term or even real in the first place. And so,
It's a, I don't know. It's a couple things with it with me that I see, because I want to, like, you're a woman, so you know better than I do, and you, like you said, you have these experiences with your family and friends that you on. You've been around these people, so I have to defer to your expertise in this arena. But there are some things that I see that just like, I don't always, when I look at it, sometimes it doesn't always seem like, um, I don't believe I can have it. I don't. It's outside of the realm of possibility for me. If you want me to be honest, as like the quote unquote good guy who had to sit around sit around for a while, um, it feels like the people are willing to trade certain things for happiness. Like, there's a price they'll put on happiness, and for a lot of I think, especially the women that were on that show that night, I think it's not that they can't have it; it's what they would have to give up to get it. Like, they will, for what it is they think they want, they'll give up stuff like their body. They sometimes will give up a little bit of self-respect and dignity and be talked to however what kind of way, or treated whatever kind of way behind closed doors. They'll give up time, money, their car, all of that stuff for what it is they think they want, for the thing that some of them will admit they want and will say that they don't feel like they can have. Some say that I don't deserve it or whatever it is. What they might have to give up is they might have to humble themselves. They might have to learn to submit, not be disrespected, but be led. They might have to learn to chill with the attitude a little bit. They might have to let go of anger, but they would rather stay angry and like abused than to be happy. Like they, I think that people want to hold their anger so much that they will hurt themselves so that they can maintain their right to be angry. But that's what I see a lot of times. And then I think, like, I hate this whole dudes that think they the prize thing. But if you're the good guy who spent, because you know we get taught different things. We spend our lives trying to prepare ourselves to just be qualified for a woman, and we know that that means physically we got to be able to do certain things, emotionally we got to be able to do certain things, financially we got to be able to do certain things, and we spend our lives trying to get there. And when we spent our lives trying to be that person and got to watch and get passed over for dudes that was not putting in half the effort in developing themselves, and then now all of a sudden after, like you said, whether you got the kids or not, you've been ran through. I had to watch people I knew were not as good as me get the thing that I wanted. And now I look attractive. Well, now I am now you are not the prize. You was the prize like 20 years ago when I wanted that and was trying to prove myself deserving of it. At this point, I feel overqualified for it. So you're gonna have to explain to me why I need to step down a little bit. Now I'm looking at you like I could probably do better.
And you probably
Sorry.
can. I mean, anybody who has been through a lot and has baggage, to a person who doesn't have any baggage or hasn't been through anything or hasn't created a bunch of kids, yeah, you might not be the prize. But I mean, there's somebody for everybody. I truly believe that. But you're correct. Some of these women out here, honestly, they want to hold on to their anger. As a woman who it took me a while to understand that, because anger was my favorite emotion. I felt that it protected me. I felt like if I stayed in a constant state of matching energy and meeting people with anger, it would protect me from crying all the time, being hurt all the time. And I think a lot of these people, specifically the one that we're talking about, um, I think she's been hurt so many times before and mistrusts everything about relationships and love and does not feel worthy of any of those things. And that anger and that brutish, like, I'm a girl, but I'm a dude type of mentality is a protection. It's like a defense mechanism for her to come off of her anger and be vulnerable again when she's been hurt and left high and dry. At least, yeah, I mean, she has 4 kids, and I don't know that any of them are about the same person. So there's a potential, even if if I'm wrong, even if there's 2 dudes, 3 or 4 involved, she's opened up a lot, given her body a lot, birthed 4 children, and is left still single, still trying to figure it out, still going through tumultuous relationships over and over again because she has the worst taste in picking men and
Right. So she
will
knows.
do anything for attention, which is that's the dangerous part. So how is she supposed to come up off of that anger and trust? I think she's smart for knowing that she's not doing the right thing. I think it's herself she
At
doesn't
some
trust.
point, at some point you got to turn that anger in on yourself. Like you say, she is still at this age talking about the attraction to the toxicity. So yes, you did gold star for being vulnerable and putting yourself out there, but it doesn't count if you doing it in situations that are detrimental and harmful to you. You being vulnerable and putting yourself out there and you purposefully seeking out toxic situations. That is not the place to go be vulnerable. That is the place, to put the wall up. If you want to be vulnerable, you can't do it in the toxic
But if
areas.
I don't even
You
think
got
she's the one that
to
seeks these relationships out. I think she attracts them by the way that she acts and speaks, and then therefore just falls back into her comfortable place. I really wouldn't know. I would need to pick her up out of where she is, move her to a totally different location that's unlike anything and anywhere she's ever been, give her a whole new career, and take her cell phone and give her a brand new cell phone and hope she doesn't remember anybody's phone number. I would like to see her put into a different environment and see how she thrives, because I think a lot of times, like, people don't understand you are who you hang out with. Like they say, you are what you eat. You are who you hang out with. If you look at the 5 closest people to her, you're going to see people exactly like her or worse than her. She might actually be the better of what's around her. And that is another problem. So, I mean, I don't know, but if again, like I said, everywhere that you look at, unfortunately, celebrities are not the people that we should be looking to, but look at Cardi B. All of these girls out here follow Cardi B and see her getting constantly cheated on by Offset, constantly taking him back, constantly being made a fool of, and they're thinking, well, if she's this rich and she's dealing with it, I can't be mad at Marco or Carlos or Davion, and they doing. You, Cardi B is good enough for her, is good enough for me, unfortunately. And then you have these same women when they see Sierra and Russell Wilson, and Sierra say she prayed for her man and
Right.
she was celibate and she was quiet and and all these things. That is like, oh
Yeah.
well, good for her. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to get over here like Cardi B.
It's not that it's not out there. They are choosing, actively choosing.
Because they don't know any Russell Wilsons. There are no Russell Wilsons walking around their neighborhood, but they got a whole bunch of offsets.
But you got to leave your neighborhood.
Okay, now see, this is
It
where
ain't a jail.
Lord Jesus help this. This is where it bothers me. Not everybody can. Not everybody has a car. Not everybody has a job outside their neighborhood. We need. I don't even know what we need, but what we cannot act like is that people are just supposed to know what they're missing if they've never seen it or experienced it before. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for them and say that it's okay, but it's real wild. I know a lot of girls who know a lot of dudes like Offset, so that is reality to them. When they've never seen a Russell Wilson or don't believe that they could ever get someone like that, they're going to flock to what's familiar to them. That makes sense to me. Animals do stuff like that.
There's a cop out in there because, like you said, Sierra will sit down and say, "This is how I did it." So not only would she say, "I found this man," but this is what I did to put myself in the position to find this man. But if you've put yourself in a mindset where you've decided, not only is that corny and unattractive to me, I don't like. Are we even sitting down and say, you know what? Let me try the Sierra steps to finding a good man. And I'm not promoting Sierra like she's the relationship guru, but the information is out there, and it's not out there in a hidden space. It's out there in places that we can see it, and people are actively rejecting it, actively saying no, that's not appealing to me. That is not appealing to
That is
me. What is appealing to me is what I know is going to kill me.
oh my
It's
God.
like
Now, come on.
I know this Taco Bell is going to kill me. It ain't a question in my mind. If I keep eating this Taco Bell, I'm gonna die. But we about to get me a chalupa box tomorrow. Like we know
You know
this.
what? That is absurd. That's a really strong accusation. I don't think that any of the women, when they enter into that situation, are thinking this is going to get me killed, and that's why a lot of them do it. I love when you just brought up. I'm thinking about the Offset and Russell Wilson situations as I was comparing them, but I'm thinking more about Future. That's who it was about. Now, since we want to talk about the bad boy, there were more men hating on Russell Wilson, comparing him to Future. And Sierra don't really love him. She not really happy with him. She just with him for the money. Ain't no way a girl like that who dances like that is with this cornball. Men. It was men, NBA players and NFL players, and all these people dogging this man for one being a great father to her son with Future, because Future, whatever I don't know what kind of dad he is, but this man Russell Wilson stepped up and loved that kid. He was a cornball for that. He was disrespectful for that. He shouldn't have been doing that. Men, black men saying this. And then it just became this, he's just corny. He's too nice. He's too kind. She needs a Future. She's supposed to be with somebody like Future. This is what we were telling this girl. Thank God she wasn't listening to y'all. And I don't mean you, but I'm just saying the social media was ablaze. So women at home who were trying to do a Sierra prayer, trying to pray for their version of a Russell Wilson, see these other successful rich black men dogging him, calling him a cornball and attacking him. And that also is something that will have them go, you know what? Yeah, maybe. And back to the Offsets in the Future we go. So it's an epidemic, but it is not just women doing it. Men, black men are doing it to other black men.
I mean, like you say, it's taught and learned behavior. I don't know what it must be like to be a little black boy right now when you really have to choose. You have to choose. Do I want to do what's right? And do I want to have a successful, happy life, which may mean it's going to be 30 or 40 before I come into my own and I find my niche and I'm cool and I'm what they want? Or do I want to go be what the women want right now? And and sacrifice some of that. And some people try to toe the line, and some people are trying to do a little bit of both. Um, but it's tough. You guys like you got to choose, and so man, and we can we can I don't know, we can bullshit around it as much as we want, but as a dude, I will tell you that the vast majority of decisions and things that we make in life are in the pursuit of women. And so if the women are at the end of that road, it's going to be very difficult for a young dude to be like, yeah, I'm going down that road.
I think, and this is a very wild accusation, and this is the first time that this has ever popped into my head. But based on what you just said, I think a lot of the women that we're talking about specifically who haven't matured enough yet and who are still chasing the bad boy and all that irresponsible mess, I think that the women are chasing sex. I think that they are chasing a feeling of being satisfied. You have too many women out here who said they've never had orgasms before. And the thing around town is going to get you a bad boy is going to be the best sex you ever had in your life. So we're looking for personal gratification. A lot of women have put in a lot of work with a lot of men and gotten nothing out of it. So now it's about what they want. Sometimes carnal desire drives that. Other times it's just they're afraid to be alone. And they will take anybody who is willing to give them that which they think they need. And sometimes that turns into sex. I don't know that women believe anymore, especially specifically to Black women. I don't know that because I fell into this rut that we believe anymore in finding the Black man who's going to love us and cherish us, honor us, take care of us, be faithful to us. That is a foreign concept nowadays. I am shocked at the situation that I'm in. There's always something that happens or something that is said when I am talking to my significant other that just makes me think he doesn't come from this planet. I've seen it. I've been through it. I've experienced it. I have friends and family members who are still experiencing these things. And when I talk about the things that I talk about, either they don't believe me, it seems unreal, or they figure because I've always been this person who's been a hopeless romantic that I finally got my reward for sticking true to the cause or some mess. But I honestly think at this point that we are so distracted by so much and that we aren't truthful about what we need. Actually, I don't think that we're focused on what we need. Again, I stick with we're focused on what we want. And if that is, it's like the blind leading the blind. What do you do?
And so a couple things on that. One, like if when I listen to you make the argument about it being about sex, it almost feels like in your argument about it being about sex, you are continuing to perpetrate the false ideal that the good sex is with the bad boy. Like, how would you know when you're not even giving the good dudes a chance?
I did the statement by saying that is what we are told. We're told by society, music, movies, television, that if you want that, usually the bad boys are the dangerous, the most adventurous. They the ones they want to brag. They the ones they want to, had a name in the street so they can continue to screw all the other girls. They have to be the best at it. That's what we're told. I did not say that I believe that. And there was one point that I did. I know better now. But I'm not trying to perpetuate it. I'm just saying that this is what most of the people are thinking and hearing and feeling. Just like the other people that they say that will give you the best sex are broke dudes. Why? Because they need a place to stay. So they are about to give you everything they got that they think you've never had. So you say, you know what? You can come on here and stay here. And that might have started out as a joke, but I know too many women who say that that's true. When they line up their roster or whatever, the ones that have been the best have been the bad boys, the ones that didn't respect them, love them, wasn't going to ever be faithful to them, and the ones that didn't have nowhere else to go. So I am not perpetuating that. I don't want any parts of that, and I didn't mean to come off as if I were either. So, no.
I just wonder on those rosters, are there good guys on the roster? Like, it's easy to say the best sex I got was from all of these fucked up dudes, but that's all you've ever dated. So how would as compared to what?
Well, I think
How would you ever
I'll
know?
tell you this. Back from when I was younger, and my sister, I'm not even gonna say her name, is the same way. I have known dudes who were so nice, like, and kind that it just was like it felt friend zone-ish. Like he was never, they were never the type like like you said, you want to go out? to a movie or something like that. But the way they would ask would just be like, "Hey, you want to get your movie sometime?" Like there was no bass, there was no in their voice, there was no like inkling to me that they were interested that way. So I'm like, sure, we can go. I go to movies, anybody, because that's just like one of my favorite things to do. And then after the date or we hang out or whatever, and we're walking, it's like no attempt to walk a little closer, no attempt to kiss you at the end of the night, not even to ask for those who are corny enough to ask. I'm one of those women who don't like that. I am not a Me Too movement woman. I don't want anyone who I don't know approaching me. But if I put myself in a situation where I'm going on a date with you, or I come back to you to your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, I know why I'm there. So for me, if I say yes, I'll go on a date with you, and I'm walking close enough to you for you to do any of these things, you're really, I give all the vibes to let you know if I'm interested. We stop walking, and I turn and I face you directly. It's 2 feet in the middle of us, if that. And they're just like, oh, okay, well, have a great night. It's like, that is what we're talking about. When you don't give back any of the energy or any type of inkling that you're interested, or that you're the type of man who will wrap your arms around my waist and pull me close to you and kiss me, I don't want to have to tell you it's okay for you to do that. I don't want to have to walk you through, well, if you like me, it's okay to tell. So that's the type of thing that I used to experience, which had me thinking, there's no way this nice guy knows anything about the female anatomy, let alone what he's supposed to do with it. And this is how he's acting. So I feel like there's being nice, and then there's being just completely out of the realm of showing or exuding any type of interest, showing that you are interested in a woman. I don't want to have to be the aggressor or the predator. And you can't use that word because it's like a negative connotation, but I don't want to have to be the one to come and swoop you up. I want you to come get me. So, and nice guys do stuff like that. It's just like weird. I want a dude who's aggressive, who comes and says, "Yeah, I want you."
But the interesting thing, in most of those situations, who taught that nice guy how to treat a woman like that?
His mama.
His mama, a woman.
I mean, and you be nice. I'm not saying don't be nice, but like at the end of the night, come in for the mood. Come in, give me some sugar. Do something. Don't just have me thinking that this was really just two friends, and then, telling me 10 years later, I really liked you and you broke my heart. No, you broke your own heart, because you should have said that then. Or you should have made a move to impress upon me that was the type of vibe you were on. So I think nice guys need to stay nice people, but just be a little bit more forward. Be open. Don't be so shy.
I think we as a people, we got to start, because we're teaching each other this stuff. We need to change the message, or just get balance. I'll always bring it back to balance. Just some freaking balance. Like for every Cardi B, let us have a Sierra, and let them stand side by side. we don't have to knock one down as if it's not realistic. So it's almost like how they used to do the Cosby Show, but like just some balance.
I feel it. We talked about that in music. We've talked about that in all aspects of life. When we were younger, we had more Black televisions on shows on TV for us to be able to see ourselves in good light. We had the ratchet music, but we also had great wholesome music you could actually play around your kids. And nowadays, it seems like so much of the movies, the music, the television shows are bad. They aren't children appropriate. Half of the shows that come out now, I don't even want to watch when my kids are in the house, from fear that they'll accidentally hear or see something. So I do agree with you. We have a lot more negativity being promoted and produced than we do good, and there is no balance.
And you and I have been talking about this recently, and it fits. But we've talked about Dwayne Wayne. Right? We grew up in a time when we saw this dude who was the nerdiest person you could have ever imagined in your life, wearing flip-up glass. He made the flip-up glasses cool at one point. He became the coolest, sexiest to a lot of. He was a sex symbol by the time, when A Different World went off the air. But there was a time where we were promoting that as like the epitome of what it was to be a Black man, a sexy Black man. We were just talking earlier today about the clip where like they breaking up or something, and Whitley trying to talk to him, and she's like, "You and your erotic," like he's still, even in the moment where she's mad at him, he's still in his college math professor persona, is still giving off enough of a vibe to her that has her mind in that place. So we used to know better and we used to teach better. We can do it again.
Can we? Because all of the people who used to know better and teach better are dead. Or they're so old, and this newer generation is trash. They don't want to listen to anybody that's older than them. They don't care about their history, what their ancestors went through, what even their moms went through. They care about what is happening to them in the present and what they're going to be doing tomorrow, and that is it.
Whose fault is that? They are kids, right? They are people.
This is what happens when you 12 and you have a baby, and then that baby has a baby at 12, and so forth and so on. They're all the big mamas and the the mama nettas and the pawpaws and the big mamas and violas and all of those people are gone. They and for whatever reason they aren't making it to those ages anymore. And so there's no wisdom. There's no transfer of information, of history, of growth, of what it is to be a woman versus, nobody's telling these girls to keep their legs closed. Nobody's telling these little boys, to stop doing stuff at schools and in public bathrooms and this, that, and the third. Nobody's teaching wholesome behavior. You have people who actually get mad at you. There's a clip going around of that show that Tay Diggs and them people used to be in, a show where they were all doctors, and the little girl was like 14 or 15 and she got pregnant. Her mama wanted to make her get an abortion. People in the comments, this is why kids don't tell their moms anything. That's her body. It's her right. Are you come get this 14-year-old and this baby then, since you feel that way. It's a situation where we used to give parents the right to raise their kids until they were able to do it on their own. At 14 or 15, she cannot get a job. She cannot provide for this child. She got to stay in somebody's house. So you don't get to tell me that I got to house her plus this new baby and I can't set forth no rules. If I know first of all, I'm not promoting abortion, but if I were this person and that's what I was thinking, then that's what I'm going to go forth with. And you don't get to you didn't give birth to this child. I did. But nowadays, it's the child should be able to do whatever they want, even if they're 1, 2, 3, 4 years old. If they want to throw a tantrum, it's just them expressing themselves. Your child grows up to be a school shooter. That's what happens when this is the type of behavior. This is what you foster. Go ahead and be a crazy nightmare in public. Go ahead and just lose all sense of control. Never tell them no. Never let them know what it likes to lose, because everybody gets a participation trophy. And then you wonder why. And you sit there on camera looking stupid to my know why your son, who had a sign up on his door to my do not enter, ain't paid not and motherfucking bill in that house. And all of this, then got up with his trench coat and went and shot up a club, a movie theater, a school, or anything else. It's tiresome. But when you want to come and talk about who's teaching what, nobody with any common sense is teaching anything. And when you do have them, like you and I are having this conversation right now, and hopefully some people can learn something from it. But there are way more people who will listen to our I'm not going to say way more people. We're definitely going to have a specific target audience. People who want to learn, want to grow, are mature, who are interested in changing their current circumstances. Those people who want to be Cardi B are going to hate us. Because everything that they stand for, we are saying you should want better because you deserve better, and they don't believe it.
Well, that's fine. We need to stand as a oasis or rest haven for those the ones that are on the fence and about to defect back over to the other side. I'm tired of being alone and feeling like nobody else like them. And they're like, oh no, but these two people are like me, so I'll stay the course. That's what we're gonna do.
I like that. I agree. All right.
And young people, if you happen on this show, kudos to you. And if you made it this far, you are the real MVP. You owe it to yourself to go watch A Different World. The whole thing.
Yep.
Start to finish.
And the Cosby Show while you at it.
I mean, no, we can't.
No,
yes, you should watch
Heathcliff Huxtable is not Bill Cosby. What they say: separate the art from the man.
But watch the evolution of Dwayne Wayne.
Yeah. And all of them on that show, those kids came on so young and so naive, and they grew up and they became productive human beings. So I agree. This was an excellent episode, I think. We touched on a lot. I still don't have an answer for you as to how we fix it. I think people like you and I still keep lending our voices to it as much as we can. Because even if we just help and assist one person, I'm okay with that. I'll take one.
All right. You know what? This is how we fix it. I'm gonna do it for you. Ladies, you've already made enough mistakes with who you've slept with. You might as well just fuck a nice guy. Just if all women out there now, just if you haven't done it yet, just go find you one. You don't have to date him and figure out nothing else out about him. Just go smash one good time. Let your friends know how it worked out for you. And we may get the numbers to support, you being able to chase sex and, get the nice guy too. It may happen. Let's do it for scientific purposes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we probably should have ended 2 minutes ago if this is the type of advice that you're throwing out at the end of the show. After all the great things we just said, that's what came out your mouth.
It can't be no worse than
Well,
what's
you're
already been.
right, because I mean, there might be a lot of nice dudes out there who have taken the time to read the Karma Sutra and other articles and maybe watch educational videos, not slut smut porn, and have actually dedicated their time to figuring out a woman's body and to also not talk over a woman so that she can actually finish her thought. So yeah, I would say go give those dudes a try as well.
Shots fired.
All right, guys, thanks so much for listening to us. As always, this is One Man and One Woman, the podcast. Holla.